Yo, yo, testing one, two. There you go. Testing one, two. There we go. All right, hey, did he get on the Zoom yet? Okay, turn it around a little bit. There you go. Turn your phone sideways. Yes, sir. There you go. There you go. Now twist it a little bit. There you go. A little bit more that way. Yeah. Push the phone away from you a little bit to the edge of the table. Why you use it now when you should have used the other one? I got you. All right. All right. Y'all ready? I'm finna take you live too. We finna go to Facebook. Huh? You gonna stay live there too. Yeah. Now, what's the link to it? Let me put out the link real quick before I get back on. The link to we're gonna just say is it that one that you said? You can do that. I can tell them to go there. But if you do, then they're gonna end up on your Zoom live. They keep asking about a link. So just send that link you just gave me, right? Yeah. Yeah, give them the meeting ID. My wife looking for me, man. I'm almost done. It's almost there. I'm blaming you. If she come over here tomorrow acting a fool, I'm pointing at you. She done cook gumbo for me and everything, and I ain't gonna eat it. So, hey, the meeting ID. Are you ready for the meeting ID? Hold on real quick. Oh, just give us 1 minute, literally 1 minute. Now, say, tell them to clear all that out on top. You clear all that with that before. Clear all that. That's it. All that is tap on that, right? Clear all that. Clear all that out. Get them with it. So that case, she tap in with people. Ooh. She tap in with people. Ooh. Test, test. I'm waiting on y'all.
are some form of slavery, right? Let me give you an example as to what I mean by that, Nick. Okay, when you get your check, Nick,
Right.
there's a guy by the name of Uncle Sam who comes and gets a bunch of bread up out of
Some percentile.
there you go. So now the rebuttal to that is that it pays for highways and schools and et cetera, right? Okay, and that's fine. So now, well, allegedly for the communities that we're in, right? It's where it's supposed to be allocated. Anywho, at any rate, then we turn around, Nick, right? And like we talked about the other day, Nick, you get to a point to where now after that you turn right around and we going to the grocery store to get us some food, Nick. So okay, Uncle Sam done hit us. Now, now before we move on from Uncle Sam, do you know who Uncle Sam is, Nick? Have you ever
met that
seen
nigga,
Uncle
man.
Sam?
I've never met that nigga.
Okay, cool. Well, all right, so that's a whole other subject. Now we turn around and we go get food, Nick. We're also taxed there, Nick.
All right.
Right. So that Uncle Sam, now we're getting taxed for food. It's gonna start getting cold eventually, Nick. Right. So then we go get our clothes and then we get taxed there, Nick.
Right.
Now here's the kicker, Nick, and I know that a lot of my black folks, we love to holler out about how we own our own home, right? If we paid for it. If the home was $217,000 and we gave $217,000,
you still got to pay property tax.
That qualifies us to own. There, you hit the nail on the head, Nick. You still got that property tax, though, Nick, and that's for your life. That never stops.
Right.
That never stops. So there are a lot of things that we really have to become aware of that we seem to brush up under the rug. All right. So now from the property tax, Nick, you have what they call capital gains, Nick. This is where if you want to take money out and invest into a business per se, they tax you on that also, Nick, in the event that you prosper. Now, say you decline, right? So you just drop and nothing happens. You're only liable for, I think, like $3,000 or $4,000, Nick, from whatever amount of money that you put into that business. So you took out $200,000 to run the business. It flopped. You're only reliable or if you will, required for $3,000 to $4,000 back.
So that's basically like you going into business and don't have no insurance on your money, right?
Facts. Okay, so that's what they would call a capital gain, Nick. Now at the end of this, it's called inheritance tax, Nick. If you leave your kids too much, they'll take some of that, Nick.
And you know what's crazy? Why you say that kind of sidebar? I was reading something about disparities in like black and white wealth, right?
Okay.
And it was talking about like, kids of a certain age, black and white, normally start out between 18 to 36. They be about the same income, right?
Okay.
Going into their 40s or later, that it was talking about how that the inheritance, that is changing. So now where they're getting so many odd hundreds of thousands of dollars, it was under 50,000 that the black community was inheriting on annual from their people that passed.
The counterpart, right, okay, their
predecessors,
right. Gotcha.
So I was tripping on. So when you're saying that as far as inheritance tax, right? Like we already had at a disadvantage when it comes to the economy, period, right? And then we come down to that inheritance tax, right? And just say that percentile is the same across all levels, right? And I'm kind of novice on that part of the taxes, so maybe if I'm saying something wrong, correct me. But we already don't have anything, but we still get the same amount of tax
penalization, if you
right,
will,
or
right.
whatever, right? And it's like it take nothing from take something from nothing and leave me with more of nothing than I had before. So
in my opinion, Nick, an updated form of slavery, brother.
But I'm gonna say this though.
Okay, so
I'm gonna say this because this responsibility, man. Black people have a responsibility, and it goes kind of segue a little bit later on into what I want to talk about as far as black responsibility. That we can circumvent that, right? It's a way to get through those taxes. White folks been doing this
loopholing
right
since day one.
And the thing is though, is we don't look. We happy to get that $3,000-$4,000 income tax refund, or lay up and got 3 kids and have get the $10,000 at one time and blow it. Never think about trying to allocate it to something that's going to advance you, and then when the next 10,000 come because you got the 3 kids or whatever the case may be, we don't think about that, and it just comes from
financial
literacy,
if you will,
right?
Absolutely.
And I think, in my opinion, a lot of us are poverty stricken.
Mhm.
So when it comes to tax, when it comes to like you was talking about the merchant tax, you and I had a personal conversation about the $3-5 that they charge you must pay to go buy to use your card. When most only of us only have our card, you know, because we don't want to use our cash app or use our time or whatever it is that we have because it, you know, take money out. But man, I can't buy these bags of chips for my daughter unless I buy $5 worth of shit. I don't want to buy $5 worth of shit because I ain't got but 25 on my card. You know what I'm saying? But I can't go get $20 off my card because it's gonna charge me $3. You know what I mean? So that 25 that I got on my card turned $2 because I got to get baby. Once I bust that 20, you know how that shit goes.
Dead, man. It's
You know
really
what I'm
dead.
saying?
And that's a travesty. The thing about that with me, Nick, is it only seems to be a certain demographic that adopts these policies in terms of penalizing you on these cards.
I don't know. I don't think it's a demographic that get well. I guess you can say it's demographic, but I think a demographic get targeted with that. What I was speaking on about fringe economy, right?
Okay.
You know, the fringe economy. For just a little update or just a little piece of it is you know, a predatory type of financial system, right? And you have them on your corner, your pawn shops. You have your Ace Check Cash and your car loan spots. You know, you have those places that had these high percentiles of money that they use, that they take from you to be able to utilize their service only because you have to fly under the radar because you're so impoverished. I guess that's the word I should say. You
your
know,
credit score is bad. You don't even really
you ran through bank accounts, you know, because you know you didn't had a job in 6 months, and you know the fees done stacked up, so you just go get another bank. You done ran through all the major banks, so the next thing you do is get prepaid cards, and that's the plight for the natural black. But what I was saying about the black responsibility is that it's incumbent on all of us. If you hear me, listen, it's incumbent on all of us not to only listen and read, but also retain that information and try to find out the branches to that tree. You know, the fruit that it go, look where it's going. And it's like we only look at Facebook and Instagram and YouTube for our information. We're not going to the library. We're not tuning in to like-minded individuals that's progressive for the black culture. Because, I mean, I'm not against anybody else, but I'm also so for black people. So it's like, you know, I think we have a responsibility for us to be better and do better, man. And that kind of take me into this black contract with America.
The brothers' plan or proposal, if you will, you know. And I think that that's a travesty within our community that we don't do our own research. And like we talked about, Nick, we allow that media to subdue our subconscious in a manner to where we are, uh, we're sheep, brother.
Yeah.
You know, we're told to think a certain way.
What to be mad at?
You know,
who to like,
who to
not
like.
to like. It blowed me, man. You know, you got the R. Kelly's, you got the Bill Cosby. Not saying that what they did was right, or if they right or wrong, or if they're guilty or not guilty. I'm not gonna say that, but we don't we hold, and I know we are particular people. We are great people. So yeah, you're supposed to hold us to a higher standard, and so the people the most expected of, the most gonna get charged for. But I think, you know, with the media, instead of just sitting back watching shit, seeing what it means, what's going on, we do ourselves a disservice. And what Q have presented, well, he was like, hey, it's gonna be one of you some bitches in office.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if one of you motherfuckers gonna be out, one of you motherfuckers is gonna be calling the shots.
Right.
So if you're gonna be calling the shots and you want our vote, this what you need to do. And I spoke on that with us one time about, you know, them crackers ain't voting. These motherfuckers lobbying and threatening and paying their way into the motherfucking office because this is what I need done. So basically, Q, when we always talk about these socialites not doing anything for us, he's doing this. But with that, I want to read something that he have in the contract, man. It's like a 15-point thing that he have in there. What he said was chronic poverty creates an atmosphere full of negativity, frustration, hopelessness, depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, crime, and violence. And that is true. When you have no other options to do things, man, we tend to find hope in other things. And I mean, that's evident everywhere we go.
Facts, brother. So, studies show that 75% of the beef that comes within our community stem from finances, man.
Right,
Which means that, like you just said, chronic poverty
Chronic poverty.
is basically a
A mindset.
umbrella, right? It's an umbrella, really a big umbrella that opens up a lot of different avenues of negativity within our community, right? And there's no progression at the end
There's
of
not.
it, right? So what we have to do is, like we always talk about, we have to figure out ways within our community to provide for one another. My statement and my motto will forever remain: all we need is us, right? Because as we spoke about numerous times, the big claim is that black folk don't own anything, right? And that may be true. We don't necessarily own anything. What we do own, though, Nick, is spending power, right? The ability to keep businesses afloat, right? So if we can tap into that, like you spoke on financial literacy, we learn that financial literacy within our community. I think that we can implement some tactics that could produce results for us
Right.
in a
Now,
progressive manner.
when you speak about the money, right?
Mhm.
I like that, earlier before the mic turned on, we talking about disparities in the black and white hood, right? Black and white, even the black and white hood, even poor whites and poor blacks is even at a different level of poverty, right? You just have to damn near not know your, I guess, position as a white person for you not to utilize it, to not be well.
Right,
Most
well, you
of us
should if
are,
you were, right.
So, but we know that it's been streamlined for us to fail so much since we've even just started Reconstruction. With the red line and the separate but equal type shit. All the type of Jim Crow laws that was enacted.
Gaslighting and all of that.
Like everything that was happening at that time, right? So like even in this black contract that it spoke on, right now, kind of touch back on what I was saying about the responsibility, man. Like those things that we talking about, alcoholism and drugs and all that, that creates a microcosm. It creates a small community of a destitution, right?
Okay.
So now I want to finish there before I continue, man.
Okay.
So it say these are some of the conditions that plague the black community, which dealing with extreme generational poverty. Generational poverty, man. That means we've been dealing with this from grandma been just trying to make it to mama just trying to make it to now we just trying to make it. And it comes because we don't know the family structure, or we've lost the family structure because everybody been struggling. So if we take in one more mouth, it's gonna hurt us, man. So yeah, we're gonna push Junior out early. We're gonna push Shamika out early, even though we had them in that microcosm that caused so much trauma. She didn't have a baby at 16, but we're gonna kick her out at 18 because she grown. I don't take care of no grown people. Your son, he been dropped out, but he can't really get a good job, but you kick him out knowing he's ill prepared, right? So then he have kids because he making bad decisions and he just trying to make it. So he's gonna finesse abroad. You know what I'm saying?
Recycling that old generational poverty.
Right.
I got you.
So now and I spoke on this last part of this contract first because it's saying that it's a two-way contract. If you want these things, Black America, Black people, brown people, we have to be responsible for each other and ourselves. We can't just ask for something and not be able to put in the work to show. Man, if you asking for these things that they're asking, utilize them and then utilize. Don't go buy no Jordan. Don't go buy Gucci. Don't go buy. You stand in the projects, but you got a 2020 Ventador sitting outside on 4G. Like, don't be an ignorant individual. You know what I mean? Don't be a nigga. You feel what I'm saying? Think higher than what you are perceived to be. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so, when they speak about the funding that we normally get, we rarely is rarely ever equal. You know what I mean? And so the schooling is different. Textbooks that we get are backdated. You have revised books that other school districts getting because they have the finances to do it. Then you also get the bottom scale of some teachers. You may have out of 20 teachers, 5 of them that really give a damn, right? And only because, they come from that area.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's another thing, too, because another point in the particular contract was him implementing us teaching from a cultured curriculum.
Right.
That was part of the contract, right? He wants to make sure that civil rights movement is taught,
And the reason
all of the
behind it.
things, right? And the reason behind and all of that, right? So he wants to, the man has an actual plan, right? While niggas is just sitting around complaining and whining all day,
Right. Right.
right? This man has a plan put together that's trying to uplift, trying to give liberation to our community. And
Right.
I'm confused as how my people can just oversee that, negate that, and call a man a sellout.
Right. Like you talking about Cube.
Cube now.
You talking about the dude that told us, man, fuck the police. You talking about the dude, man, that didn't let the white boy, handle
Jerry
him.
Bruckheimer or whatever his name is.
The cracker boy,
Yeah.
jack him.
No.
He didn't let him.
No.
And he
Showed
tried
you
to
the
tell him. He
blueprint.
showed you the game, man. You tell him about this Cube, man.
This is Cube, man. He's been fighting for us over 30 years, man. It's like you
Right.
can go Google this man on CNN and all types of outlets actually giving proper protocol as to what we wanted within our community.
Right.
And, folks are still, they fix their lips to say this, man. It's this self-hate for me. Man.
I asked this,
It's
man. I
self-hate
asked
for me.
this. This is my thing. And I spoke with you, and me and you speak. We talk to each other. Like, okay, you all have a problem with the way Q addressed the situation, right?
Right.
What's your solution? The thing is, like I said in my preamble, was that Q figured, hey, somebody gonna win, right?
Let me go to both.
He shot it out there. He didn't go to anyone. He didn't endorse anyone. He didn't endorse Biden and Kamala, Miss Kamala. He didn't endorse Trump, right? He didn't endorse any group. But what he did was say, hey, y'all about to go in battle for this position.
Right.
And once one of you all get this position, man, I need one of you all, whichever one, man, to do this. Biden, Democratic Party, and I'm bipartisan. I don't give a damn, right? Biden was like, hey, wait till after the election. And my take is like, get your people to vote for me, and then I'll talk to you. Right. Trump, before the vote, was like, you know what? Let me make this agreement. And this the coldest part what I look, people say what they want about Trump. And I say what I fuck Donald Trump, right? But what I would say is this though, man. At the end of the day, dude getting shit done. His personal beliefs, and that's what I want people to do. Eliminate your personal belief, right? Like eliminate it. Let's not buffet that when for the people we like, and then when the people we don't like, let's buffet that, right? Like, hey, at the end of the day, man, this nigga letting motherfuckers go. As far as the prison reform, he's listening. He's listening without waiting. It's like I'm matching match my energy. I'm gonna go first. Now I'm not campaigning on endorsing Trump. Please don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is I'm a man of action.
Right. Let's put emphasis on the denial from the Democratic Party.
Right.
That's what we're not, and we keep sweeping that under the rug. Right. So yeah, I'm with you on that, brother, because like you said, he's getting stuff done. Say what now?
So what we do know about Trump is about money. He about the dollar, right? We see this with Corona. The nigga pushing everybody back out there because we losing money on the overall, right? And then his little people now cuff the people that pay to get him in office, not cuffing they coffers. They losing because everybody don't sit down. Ain't no construction jobs going, ain't nothing going. We sitting back. So we know this here. So the thing is what I see, man, that for the last 60, 70 years, they've been saying that the black community is only 13.4% of the population of the United States of America, which I think is a bullshit ass lie. Because I know my homegirl got like 6 kids. So, and she do the census, right? Like, so you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's a few girls I know with 4 or 5, right? Like, so when I'm thinking like, but they're okay, right?
Right.
So we have a certain amount of income coming to the country, but we receive like far less than I think 3 or 4% of what the income is. And it's to our fault because we don't do business, we don't start business, we're too afraid, and it's all because of trauma. I do. But he has a proposal, right, that that it has somebody outside of the particular branch, right, looking over, or even somebody that's sublet from that branch to look over and report the minority lending, housing ownership, and mortgages, and an enforcement of the items 2 and 3 that's above, which was which was lending reform and the federal funding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what it does is it shows like it says a transparent. It clearly shows like what y'all doing. You know, right now we don't know what's going on with the housing. You know,
Right.
It's a disparity with that. We know this. You know, blacks are not getting the same loans.
Yep.
We're not getting the same
Bank lending,
opportunities.
none of that.
Right?
Right.
None of that.
All of that.
So, right, we know this. We know this as factual, right? But we don't. On the paper, it don't look the same. So with this here, he's asking that it's a company outside of the normal, right, to look in on this, preferably a diverse group of people without a bias, to look into this for us to be able to also get equal, equal rights when it comes down to lending and loaning money to us for us to get into real estate and property ownership of property, right?
Yep. The man,
So-
like you say, man, the man has an over advised or supervised, like in depth
Right.
plan put together, man, from bank lending. The man has curriculum in there, man. The man has reparations in there, man. The man got all kind of things. And if you guys follow me, any of my followers are tuned in. I just posted Q's contract with Black America. So you guys go check that out if you guys are tuning in and you aren't aware of any social media platforms that we're on. You can start at Talk Black Radio. You can view us there. My particular tag is individual underscore individual. Wait, intellectual. I'm sorry, intellectual underscore individual. And that's my IG tag. My Facebook tag is Matt, M-A-T-T White. And my Snap is King underscore Matt 53. How can they get in touch with you, Nick?
And y'all can catch me on Instagram tall underscore NIC underscore from underscore spice. You can catch me on Facebook, niggas with an agenda. Thought provoking content. You can tap into that, man.
Niggas spelled Negus, y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
Kings, man.
we're trying to get you guys hip. You know, you guys are unaware of a lot of the lingo that we converse here on the show. And if you have any questions, you can certainly tap in to either of the platforms by way of comment or DM. We're always available.
If it's a topic that you want to hear,
there you
talk
go.
about, tap in. This conversation, man, is for us to push the culture forward. I'm not a scholar. I know what I know. You know, I think the two like-minded of us is dynamic.
Right. It's a good blend, right? And if there's even subject matters that you guys are clouded on, right? You don't really get, you haven't formed any type of clarity with, right? You guys tap in with us, man. Ask plenty questions, man. Contact us because we certainly want to be able to relay it in a manner to you guys that you guys can embrace it and understand it fully.
Right.
So now we're okay. Now where were we still with the contract? We're back on the contract.
So what I was thinking about, or what I did and caught my eye, and I kind of wrote a little bit about it as well. The Police Reform Act.
Mm-hmm.
As we know right now, man, like with the sister Breonna Taylor,
George Floyd,
several guys.
Albert Ahmad.
Right. It's a lot. But just dealing with the police, right? What he's asking is, and I'll read this so I'll be verbatim. It say police reforms will be implemented in an expansive act that will at minimum include elimination of qualified immunity, meaning that the police doesn't automatically get a pass and just get off.
Right.
Or so much just, get paid leave. It's a requirement of mandatory malpractice insurance for police officers. That's the same thing as if a lawyer or a doctor commits malpractice or anything that they personally are held accountable and liable for whatever happened. I think with that alone, that would change a lot of things, right? So it also says that make municipalities liable for unconstitutional act by the police. So not only are you holding the officer You know, because you can get a rogue dude and say, man, I don't give a damn what they going to do to me, and I just blow 20 people off, and I did what I did.
Right.
I take what I take.
Right.
But now it's holding the municipality. So not only is Joe Blow getting caught, the city, state, you know, whatever the case may, department, whatever you're attached to, right, getting held accountable for that, right? The mandatory use of dashboard and body cam. Now, I want to pause. They have that with the sister Breonna Taylor.
Right, they have the they banned the no knock one.
Right, but not just the no knock. What happened to the video?
Right,
like you can tell them to turn that on. Like right now, to me, I think the mandatory, you know, body cams and dash cam goes into the malpractice, right? Because if you don't do that and something happens, then
you need to be held liable.
You're held liable, right? So I think that goes into that, right? And that for sure helps, but that also comes down to individual, man, because the individual could say, I don't give a damn, you know what I mean? And I deal with whatever I deal with.
Right. But if you, like you said, if deeper, I guess deeper levels of rank would be also held accountable, and then funds would be pulled. I believe. Then he want to like pull funds.
Well, he didn't want to defund the police. What he wanted to do was allocate some of the funds that's going to police to other programs that'll help. Like if you have a mental patient, right, and you called out to a mental patient being, you know, unruly, disreputable, whatever, you call, instead of calling the police fully armed out there with the police, you call somebody out there that's a mediator, you know, somebody that could talk to this person, calm them down, and deal with, you know, a caretaker, you know, a health caretaker, something to that lines of what I do. And it's just paraphrase, you know, for my pieces. That's being asked. My thing is this, when it goes back to the taxes, right? We talk about the taxes. The taxes pays the police salary, right?
Absolutely.
When a police officer commits a crime against the community that's paying his salary, the community pays for the trial. Also, if like the malpractice or wrongful death, like they did in the Sister Breonna Taylor case, with the $12 million, who you thought paid that?
Right. Well, I assume that the city did.
Right. So those are the taxes. Now, for the mistake that the cops and the police force made, right? The city, the residents that took a loss, that are afraid of the cops, that don't trust the cops, they still have to pay taxes towards that $12 million.
So you're telling me that $12 million is pulled from tax money?
From tax money, it is. Boy, and so now what you do is once you eliminate, or you
make it to where the department has to be responsible for those funds that are allocated.
It's not us no more.
Right, it isn't.
It's not us no more.
Right, so you take into consideration now.
Right.
What
are you doing?
Trigger.
So now it's not even just so much that, you know, you got the good old boy or good old blue system, right? Like we don't snitch on each other.
Right.
You know, you all right, you did that, but I don't see it, right? And if you do, we oust the person that ousted us, right?
Right.
So what you essentially do now is, hey, bro, I'm tired of my check getting my bonuses. I'm out getting my bonuses and all this here.
You got to
that chief.
You're putting pressure.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Like I spoke on
the
last time I was here, man. I was in prison, bro. I'm gonna tell you what they used to do. You come down the line, right? I'm in one cell.
Okay.
Right, just throwing a number. This a nigga down in 27 cell, set that hoe on fire, right?
Boom.
They locked the whole line down.
For sure.
So what that do? That make everybody else, hey nigga, stay in line, cuz, right? But then, now nigga, how you gonna do them laws job? See, it's a back and forth,
give and take
type
kind of deal.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't tell me what don't grown.
Right.
I mean, vice versa, right? But at the same time, nigga, you ain't about to have me jammed up behind your shit, right?
Sure.
So that's what ended up happening with the police force. Is like, hey, well, what the intent is, hey, y'all start holding each other accountable. You know what I mean, for the shit that y'all doing. And then nigga, we ain't gotta worry about your whole ass shit no more. You know what I mean?
Right.
If y'all stop doing this dumb ass shit, y'all ain't gotta worry about niggas riding.
Right.
If you stop doing this dumb ass shit, you ain't gotta worry about niggas running up on police officers on lunch break, shooting them in the head. If you stop everybody, well, but the violence ain't gonna stop nothing, man. I know one thing, man. When the innocent, in my mind, I don't think it's right that a innocent cop that never harmed nobody, never shot a person, never did no police brutality dies. I really think that's terrible. But I also think it's terrible that an innocent kid or mother, black man, whatever, died, didn't do nothing, never committed a crime, never did anything wrong. Or if they did wrong, right?
Right.
And it wasn't warranted for them, I don't think that should happen either. So
Right.
when you start niggas start worrying about niggas pulling up at your house, running up on you when you sitting at lunch.
Right.
You know, when you have to start worrying about that, you think more than once.
Well, yeah, you consider it more, you know, and I think that's important also in terms of getting results, right? That's the big thing with the contract, in my opinion. It's results, right? While we're sitting around and we're complaining.
Right.
The issue with me is how we continue to bash the man, though, right? In the wake of, like, we got some solutions, right? Black folks have to respect. We have to be more concerned about creating solutions versus being problematic, and so voicing and in our complaints, right? Black folks love to complain, but we never seem to want to even adhere to some type of solution. And I think that's the biggest issue within our community is the fact that we don't. Where else were you? What else was he on there? Oh, yeah, I see what. And you know what? To kind of touch up, not to cut you off, Nick, but to touch up on that, he was talking about the cookie jar insurance policy, right, on this contract. And what that means is any company that profits from private prisons or have been documented to have any dealings with human trafficking, drug trafficking, et cetera, those companies have to be penalized, right, and eliminated, right? But again, if you guys Googled things other than the foolishness that we do, yeah, well, okay, so it's the privately run prisons will be abolished, right? Prison labor disallowed without consent, right? And nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be freed if good behavior stands.
Only reason
right?
why I don't agree with that is
What's that?
the nonviolent.
Okay.
And the only way, and then, I may be wrong, but like if you got some pedophilia, and that it may not be violent, and some like
that's violent.
But my thing, it's not
labeled violent.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, well, I'm
right, because I'm saying you got some pervs that just stand back and beat. I mean, they do their thing. Right, right, and it's not violent, and so you have those guys. In my opinion, those guys never reform.
Well, no, I don't think that. Yeah,
and I think they fall up under that.
You can
loophole.
Right, you can. I think you can word that in a format that would allow what you're saying.
I would hope not.
But now,
I would hope so. I mean,
all prisoners for marijuana possession free. Now, that's specifically something we can stop at, because as a result of the Crime Bill Act that the Clinton administration was responsible for, we still have folks that are locked up. For example, in Michigan, I believe in the state of Michigan, marijuana usage is legal now from a recreational stance, right? But also in that same state, there are Black men and women locked up from the 90s for possession of weed. So now, how does that equate if the state allows for it to be used?
Right, especially if you incarcerated on the state level.
Right, on exactly on the state level.
Now, if you were incarcerated on a federal level, I can understand it. But if you're on the state level,
60 years,
come on, man.
From the 90s in the same state, y'all are legally smoking now. I would feel highly offended, I really would. And
somebody's gonna have to get their head knocked out.
Seriously, brother, because that's just not right. It ain't right. That ain't right.
That ain't.
That ain't right, man. I think the longer that we stay silent, the worse off our condition will become, Nick. I think Black folk think that someday white folk is just gonna have a change of heart.
Yeah, man, we tired of doing them niggas like that. You know
I think Black folk really thinking they
got a better chance of Jesus coming back. Nigga, I swear to God. Hey, man. Say, real shit, dog. Hey, I wonder that sometimes, like, man, people been programmed so much, man,
Mhm.
to, like we speak about learn unlearn. People been taught, learned to did
Mhm.
so much stuff, right? Like they're afraid to go back because you have to face the fact that your life was a lie.
Right.
Everything that you believe
But in
was
my
the
opinion,
reason why.
who cares
Right,
if
right.
I'm
They
able
do.
to
They do.
identify with it
They do.
now?
They do.
If you knew better, I thought you were to.
Right. Listen what you said. If you know better, right?
uh,
That means that you took the information, retained it, did
and
something with it.
applied it.
Right. But the thing is though, when a Matt or a nigga come and start trying to speak something that's outside of the generational thought process,
Conformity, right?
nigga, you tripping. Nigga, you wrong. I ain't trying to hear that shit. Oh, this nigga woke. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those the things that you go, and it goes back to the point of why people don't step up and say things about certain stuff because the ridicule that come with it. Oh, look at this nigga. Bro, black folk will roast you for anything.
Right.
They'll give you props for the dumbest shit.
Right.
You can go buy a brick, everybody like my nigga on.
Right.
You go buy a 1 bedroom house. This to me, a 1 bedroom house. Man, you see a nigga about that little bitch ass house?
Right.
Right?
Right.
But nigga, this house costs more than that brick, and I got this generational.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's because we applaud some of the dumbest shit. If you tell a nigga right now, say, bro, you're a dumbass nigga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nigga ain't gonna try to prove to you that he's an intelligent individual, right? But go and tell him, man, you ain't no street nigga. I slap shit out you. They're gonna hop up and go all damn near risk his life going to prison or dying
Right.
to prove to you
He's
that
not
he
what you
ain't
just
no hoe.
said. Right. For sure. Well,
And it's not beneficial to you.
it isn't, brother. And I think, like you said, it comes generational.
And that's why the information don't get passed.
Facts. I think that comes, and that's another thing we have to work on within our community, brother. Responding, like we talked about last week a little bit, to disrespect, right? It's easier said than done because there is levels to it, Nick, right? Um, like you say, everybody don't respond the same way to the same problem, right? So you have to consider that with every situation you're in, and it will be a case by case situation. However, now you still have to consider one's respect, right? That's the thing. That's how I live, Nick, right? I got respect. Fuck, I need clout for, you know? Like black folk, like you said, we have to stop responding to the foolishness that we seem to love to keep riled up within our community, Nick, right? Why is it that it's so, if you hear something bad about a nigga, you automatically believe it, Nick, right? But you hear something good, you're going to question it at least a couple times. You know, and I think that it goes back to the self-hate. These were taught behaviors, but I think it's up to us to be open-minded and be willing to uh, adhere and listen to advice. My motto, y'all, is if your intel doesn't look like, if the information that you get doesn't come from people who look like you, then you can save it because I don't usually adhere to the colonizers, right? They've lied about enough, right? And as the saying goes, you know, you lie about one thing, I'm gonna question everything you say and what you've said already. So
Right. But don't. And I warn and I advise, like, yeah, I don't believe nothing, nobody. I'm a damn colonizer or a nigga that was colonized, nigga.
right.
Because like I say, man, here Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner had they troubles too.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna act like it's only them tight skins and white skins, you know.
Right.
So, you know, because I believe, man, a whole lot of us, even now, man, I'm going to say something. I'm going to kind of go back a couple years, man, with the Kanye shit, you know, as far as the slave comment that he made, and then even with the Harriet Tubman comment, right?
He recently made, right?
Right, like with the slave comment, man, like we so small-minded. I'm an open-minded person. Plus, I don't react automatically. I let some shit marinate
Simmer, if you will, right? I got you.
So when he said it and I heard everybody blasting out, right, I had to sit down and I had to think about what the brother was saying, right?
How he used it in the context he brought it and everything, right?
And so what I only got at the time was the sound bite.
Okay.
And then in the magazine that I had read, I only got the quote.
Okay.
Right? And so it was cut right there. You know?
Okay.
I had to you know,
right.
carry on shit.
Right.
So I actually saw the video, you know, him and the brother that he had the conversation with at the time, Lance I can't think of his name, was on TMZ.
Okay.
I mean, they had the conversation, but when he made that comment, he said, "All of y'all." See, that's the part. He said, "All of y'all here, y'all still slaves, right?"
All right.
I'm gonna speak on myself now. In prison, you have at least 1,000 or more inmates, right?
Okay.
At any time, you may have like 40 officers,
Okay.
but those all 40 officers aren't in one area.
Okay.
So on each line, like just say we had 5 lines, A through E, right?
Okay.
You have 3 officers, right? 204 inmates
Per officer.
per 3 officers.
Per 3 or so. 3 to 204, basically.
Right. So
on
you
each
basically
tier or whatever.
right. So you basically got like 60 inmates per officer on each unit.
Right.
3 times a day we heard it out to go to lunch.
Then a breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Right. Showers as well. Bro, it was a choice for each one of us because you have like 60, 70 guys go out at night. I mean, in the morning, right? On the whole squad,
Mm-hmm.
right? They go out. Bro, guys, it's a choice. Because think about this, there's 60 of us got to go out on the first shift.
Mm-hmm.
60 of us got to go out on the next shift, right? At the time in the 90s, they were doing, you had to work 2 shifts on that. But think about this, if we say, nigga, I ain't going, bro.
Ain't nothing niggas really do.
Ain't going. And then the next shift, I ain't going, bro. What you gonna do? I'm locked up already.
Right.
You got that mindset with them. Damn, I ain't going. See, they respect the money, bro. You had a choice. Because like Nat had a choice. And he rounded up who he rounded up and was like, nigga, I'm damn Nat. I'm you gonna let me free, but I ain't gonna die like this, man. And so you have people today, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's today will rather shit, man. I got this little old corner of money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm okay with it.
Right. Boy,
and it's a choice for us to be this slave, man. It's a choice for us to go vote for Biden because we don't want like what Trump's saying to us.
Yes.
It's okay for us to go vote for Biden and Kamala, who was a prosecutor that was during the time of the drug laws that also put a lot of niggas in jail.
Absolutely.
Like, let's go vote for her because she black and she a woman.
Right.
Like, damn, all the back to like, we're going to go vote for them. For Trump, he's dealing with the prison reform.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no. I mean, they talk about the employment rate, but those employment pays aren't the same.
Right.
I mean, ain't nobody having making a real living wage. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it goes up because the pay wage is low. So you got one person got 2 jobs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, you got more people with jobs. But if it was paying more, you have lesser people with more than one job. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but at the same time, he's domesticated a lot of things, right? That was outsourced to different countries. So I mean, the economy changing him in his personal, the bigotry, his stupidity. That's what we think about it and be honest, bro. Since January of 2017, the only thing that you can speak on about Trump is his personal.
Right. Most don't even know what he done did internally, though. To be honest, I don't, because I just ain't even follow the dude.
But we hate Trump.
Well, the TV has told us to do that. So that's the narrative always, the subconscious, right?
Now, again, let me put a disclaimer out there.
Yeah, we're not promoting Trump in any way. We're not voting for Trump. Let's be clear that.
Not promoting
because folks
him.
will listen to this and they'll take those sound bites like you mentioned earlier, Nick, right? And they'll dictate the whole.
But what I am saying is this though.
Thinking goofy.
Right.
Don't do that.
If you want, if the person you want in the office is not doing nothing, why you vote? Like I asked several people, man. They be like, "Go vote, go vote, go vote, go vote." Okay, I'll go vote with you, but under the condition you tell me why I'm voting. It can't be just to get Trump out the office.
Right.
Like, you gotta tell me why I need to vote.
I always ask, this is how I get them, and most of them at least, I always ask them 3 of Biden's policies that they adopt, that they would like, right? And then that's when I get the cricket. So it's sort of like you said, it's more so removing Trump than learning Biden like we should, right? And that's the emphasis I want. That's the only emphasis I want to put. Hey, if you want me to vote Biden, give me a reason as to why I should. Because now, in my opinion, they both gonna probably do the same thing at the end of the day, man. They won't necessarily
cater to us.
nothing directly will be done. Like even in the event that Trump listened to Ice Cube, right? It's not for sure that Trump will implement all of these policies.
I think he will.
You know, he may, right? It's not for sure. Nothing's set in stone. He didn't sign that contract with Black America, right? So what we should
litigation
focus on is the fact that it really all boils down to us, Black folks.
Our vote really matters.
Yeah, it does.
It does
on
to
a
an
scale.
extent, because if we do vote, we get the people in the electoral colleges. If we do vote, we get the people in the Senate, the House, the Council. You know, we get that if we vote for those people. Damn, that presidency.
Right.
But if we vote on this lower scale, you know what I mean? That's when we can start seeing the change.
Well, I beg to differ there, though, Nick, because, okay, if you go lower scale, right, let's go locally, right, when you say your governor, your mayor, aldermen, and all, Senate, Congress, all that, right? These guys, you still have to answer, in my opinion, a white supremacist supreme.
Right.
What my suggestion would be to dismantle that system first, right? We got to get rid of those policies because it's a lot of fine print that we like to skip over, and that be the ones that hurt you.
But the only way that you can dismantle that, bro,
okay,
is one, education, bro.
For sure.
Getting our kids to not so much put the basketball down or the football down, but also being involved in what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So it starts on that level, right?
Okay.
We get our kids to start looking into the affairs of our own community, how it negatively affect them and positively affect, and what they could do better. We start having those conversations. What you see out here that you don't like? We have those conversations. We put those kids into a position where they start thinking politically, right? And then we start voting for them. So when we start putting those, and it's a multitude, we start pushing that so often, and we get so many of them on the base, and now they start to advance, and they bring it in, you know, and that way now we get to see the policy because
we've implemented it.
We classify now,
right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We our clearance is high enough now, so we get to see this. Hey, it's 9 of us in here. We got 11-man vote. It's 9 of us in here. We got 11 votes. We got to take 11 to make this vote. Right. 9 of us.
Right.
All 9 of us gonna vote to get this shit out of here. See, but we can't do that unless we in there.
Right. Being the teacher. I agree though.
Same thing with Jay-Z. They saying, oh, that nigga come over and he in cahoots. Bro, you cannot find out what's going on
if you ain't got to
if you ain't got to see the tape.
Right. I agree.
You understand?
I agree. Most black folks are ignorant to the law though. Black folk know the Bible better than they know things like credit scores, interest rates, and inflation.
Who their great grandmama is.
So we economic freedom is far from us, but I think with unification we can bridge that gap even. You know, so I think that's the importance. Is just
what's that brother name? Frederick Robertson? What's that old school name?
Douglas?
No. The one that's passing that money out, man.
Oh, you talking about the young boy, the one who
just the billionaire, man.
I know
he just gave,
about.
you know, that it's guys like that, man, that I feel like sit down and talk to.
With the proper plan, with a contract with Black America type plan.
They have some. They
can go and speak in a manner for.
And white folk like money.
That's what it be about.
And he got what they talk.
And he got exactly what they talk.
So, Oprah, even though she getting, you know, but she got what they talk.
Do.
And she just she's not using her voice because she afraid of them Jews.
That's what it is.
My opinion.
I mean, mine as well, and it seems to be fact almost because so many times, man, we compromise ourselves, and I think that's what we have to work on in our community also is being uncompromising, right? Black folk, like they say, the saying goes, and it's the oldest saying in the book, right? Everyone has a price, right? Some of you ain't gonna do for 200, you do for 2,000.
Right. They say you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
So
they come with a price.
Come with a price. What they say, it's gonna cost you.
It might cost you a little bit. It might cost you a lot. But it's gonna cost you.
It's gonna cost you, baby.
So
I think Black folks have a tendency to downplay ourselves in that negotiation, Nick. And I think that's the issue. We've been conditioned to either receive the bare minimum or nothing at all.
I think it's this, man. So used to losing and you win a little bit, man, you don't give a damn if it's second and third place, man.
You all right with
You
it.
happy you ain't in last.
You
no
happy
more.
you in the race.
Yeah, you ain't last though. You got
And
a
you
trophy.
ain't last.
You got a trophy.
You got a trophy.
Even if it's bronze, you don't give a
So
damn. I got
you
a
cool.
trophy. So a lot of people like, hey man, you know, you got it like during the march that we had down here, right? My daughter, she came with me. I talked to some no names I ain't gonna say.
Okay.
And they was just like, man, you gotta go down and do all that, man. Damn all that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm like, bro, this like history, nigga. Like you never know what it was backwards, man. You know, you have something monumental going on that you can go and you just may be able to implement a change, or somebody may just see you on Instagram post anything and say, "Damn, he care."
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
let me get into this. Let me look into this. But we so used to just saying, man, shit, nigga, I'm nigga, shit.
Don't worry about me long as me and
I need to do is be
mine.
black and die.
That's it, bro. And that's the issue, man. You know, we like the fight has been knocked out of us, man. And I hate that for us as a community because that's not where we come from, Nick. You know, that's not us historically. A lot of black folk think we come from slaves.
I don't believe it.
We have to remember that Slavic countries are in Europe, right? Slavic, right? So it's no way that you could be a slave if Slavic countries are in Europe.
Just
and
the enslaved people.
There you go. Enslaved people would be a better term for it. But
like I was saying to you, man, just sidebar, man, like I don't believe all of us came from descendants of slaves.
Hey,
I just
man,
don't believe it.
you know what? I posted something today, Nick, on Instagram, and it said, slavery is the biggest lie ever told in history. Right? And I started thinking about that. Like, right? Like, you have to remember, like I always say, the winner writes history, right? So when the winner writes it, they're able to dictate it in a format to be believable. Right? It's almost believable if you don't think enough. I can keep you in that Twilight Zone trance.
Right.
You won't even think about it. Right? You'll just receive the information and as such and go on with it. Go on with your whole life thinking as such. So to hear you say that, man, you know, that kind of resonates again from the post that I saw and was able to repost, right? Where it says that slavery is the biggest lie. And when you read the comments, I remember seeing one that stated, it's not necessarily the biggest lie. It's the way that it was told that makes it a lie. Right. The way that it was told.
You have to think about
relayed, if you will.
Abolishing of the slavery, right? We think about that, right?
All right.
Now, think about this. If this country was 13% of
black
the
people
country
or whatever, right?
Then, right? How is it that all of us that small 13 percentile
stayed at that same exact number?
But it has blowed up, and now it's like so many millions of people in America now. Like, bro, it's African people, migrants coming here. You have people from the islands coming here, right? There's dark complected like us. Get with a dark complected person here, right? And have a baby. Then you go on through your life, and your only sign mindset is that you attach. Because that's, you know, the old thing that people say, hey, your history didn't start as slavery, right? Like, so everybody think that everybody over here was a slave. Right. There's some blacks that came here during that time and was never a slave. They came here on their free will, never was enslaved, and lived their life and have descendants here. So it's like I don't never subscribe to the mindset that I'm a slave descendant. Right. I believe I'm a descendant of someone that had to struggle. Whether I'm a slave or not, I don't know. You know what I mean? Right. My grandpa Haitian, right? My great-grandpa Haitian, my great-grandmother full-blood Indian, Choctaw. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like, where the slave come in at? But the African came in, he's not somebody that's from
Nigeria or Uganda.
He's from there and came here. Right. Wasn't a slave.
And that's why I say, Nick, I agree with you, brother, because again, when you gotta go back to it. When you read one lie and you verify it, validate it and you verify it, right? You have a tendency to start reaching deeper and doing deeper research. And once you find out it's more than one, then you just assume that they were all lies.
Right. You just try not to. That's why I say we so used to being sensationalized.
Right.
Everything has to have a shock for us to believe it or disbelieve it.
Right.
It has to have a shock. And then, like I say, you speak against slavery, we automatic jump to being the victim.
Mm-hmm.
When we speak about black and white, we automatically think of us being the lesser of the two subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
And then we automatically think we being victimized. Everything that happens between a black and white person is automatic because he's black.
Right.
It's not the case. And it's only because we so ready for something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and when you come to them with some thought-provoking content, bro, to make them think, I ain't never did that before. I ain't never thought before.
We're out of their comfort zone.
So now it's like the only thing that I could do to save myself from not knowing I'm 38 and don't know this.
Mm-hmm.
Is you tripping? Now we're not talking about we're not talking about the
Sweep
topic.
it back up under the rug.
You hear
type
me?
deal.
So now I ain't talking about the subject. I'm just talking about the fact that you challenging me.
Right. So that's what I'm putting emphasis on, so I can cop out. It's an easy cop out.
You hear me?
And that's the issue. In other words, no results.
Right.
And I think that's the problem that we have, that I have, particularly within our community.
Right.
It's like we done knocked all the fighters. Now, men, I want to kind of touch on you men and side a little bit because I'm single, right? I'm not married. My co-host, he's married, so ladies, you know what I mean? That's just a whole nother subject. Anywho, for me, particularly, fellas, I like to socialize, right? I like to converse with a number of women, and that's not sexually. That's literally conversing because I would much rather learn her before I earn her. You youngsters probably don't know nothing about that though, because y'all too active. But anywho,
put your pinky up on that one.
Man, anywho, like I say though, fellas, okay, I'm on a few dating sites, right? And I've had a number of women reference to me about how they're scared to even meet up. And it ain't for Corona. It's for the situations that they've had dealing with you goofies. I need you guys to really pay attention to that because that's hazardous for us. If our women are scared of us, then that's always a negative because we aren't able to bridge that gap that I'm trying to do, right? So if you guys would consider that, I know my player partner, he don't have this issue, and this may be a bit foreign to him. He may not can chime in as much, but this is something I certainly want to touch up on, and I'm sure he's aware of it. That he sees it when he scrolls his timeline. We call them tender dicks, and we got to leave that alone, fellas, because, like I say, it's imperative for us to bridge this gap within our community of black men and black women.
I'm gonna say this,
Talk
man.
to me, Nick.
Brothers, sisters, man, brothers. If y'all have to restrict y'all women for you to shine, man, and women, if you have to shrink yourself for somebody else to be seen, man, remove yourself. Love yourself. That's man and female. If you got a male, if you got to shrink yourself so this woman could be who she is, and you don't feel good about that, and vice versa, man, exit that situation, man. And fellas, man, you supposed to be up top. Women think with their emotions. We think with absolute truths. Deal with truths, man, and eliminate your emotions when you deal with shit, man. You deal what I'm saying? And that's my parting word for y'all, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, hey, we certainly want to thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Niggas with Agenda. And we certainly thank you guys for tuning in to thought-provoking content. My name is Matt White. My co-host name is Nick.
Yeah.
Nick, man, I appreciate you coming back out kicking with me, bro.
So
you could have been anywhere else, man, but you came to rock with your boy, man. And it's nothing but love for that, brother, because I really appreciate you, man. I needed you for this. So that's our show. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week. I will keep you guys updated with the link. I want to thank you guys for viewing. Nick, any last words for me?
Man, y'all type in Talk Black Radio, man. And if you ain't been on it, man, y'all get with that Culturally Distinct, man. Podcast too, man. So y'all tap in Talk Black Radio, man. Tap in.
Love all my people, man. Peace.